night, therefore it is time for my weekly online class to go. So for anyone who is new either to my Facebook page or YouTube channel, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Each week on Tuesday nights I do a live class. We make 3 cards using a featured stamp set or bundle, and then for anyone who places an order of $75 or more, and that's before shipping and after any Stampin' Rewards in my online store before the end of Saturday night, I will send you as a thank you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards from tonight's class. So you will get all the cardstock, designer series paper, any ribbon that you need. Any die cuts that are not part of the featured bundle are included. Any die cuts that are part of the featured bundle, you'll get the cardstock or designer series paper, depending on what's used, but you'll need to do the die cutting yourself. The reason for that is that most of the time they are stamped and then die cut images. So if you're using a different set, if you don't have the featured one and you're using something else, it makes more sense to die cut the coordinating shape for what you're using. But that's the basics. So this week the featured bundle is the Boutique Blossoms set. So this is part of a larger suite which actually has 2 stamp and die bundles. So I'll just switch the camera around. So these are the 3 cards from this week's class. And so the stamp set from the bundle is the Boutique Blossom. So it's a 2-step stamping set. And so this one just has the flowers and leaves. So there are no sentiments in this one. And then you have the dies that coordinate with the stamped images, as well as a couple of extra die cuts that can be used on their own. So the large and small leaves there, those ones, some of the flowers. So you've got a mix. You can stamp and die cut or just die cut. And then the coordinating set for the sentiments is the Scalloped Blooms. So this one is all sentiments, and then it coordinates with this die set, which has all of the scalloped circle dies, as well as a few other shapes. So you've got a whole lot of nested scallop circles, and then a handful of other shapes that you can use as well. Alrighty, so let's get started. Just put these back, move them out of the way. So we'll start with this one. And so the suite, so the designer series paper and everything else features all of the new in colors. So this first one, the cardstock is Crisp Cantaloupe. Those who have been using Stampin' Up! For a while, you may remember Crisp Cantaloupe. It wasn't in colour many years ago. And then, so I have stamped and die cut the images for this one, just to save us a little bit of time. And so then, so there's also some pearlized specialty paper in all of the in colors, which I'm using, and the coordinating designer series paper. So this image, the larger one, is stamped in Crisp Cantaloupe, and now this one is stamped in Barely Blush. Barely Blush is barely visible, particularly the ink pad. So this one I actually double stamped, and you can see it's still very, very pale. The blends are a lot, the color is a lot more obvious with the blends. And then there is also the option, and the blends are also a good option if you don't want to do 2-step stamping. the other option, and we didn't have these available at the time I designed these cards, so I couldn't do it, but we have the new shimmer brushes in the in colors, the new in colors. So that is another option that you could use to color the images. And I will actually, while we're here, I'm just going to color the center. Now, when you first get your brush, you need to unscrew it, take this little white ring off. You can keep that, and particularly if you're going to be sort of traveling around with your markers or your shimmer brushes, you can put that back on when you're not using it, and that just means you don't end up squishing the barrel unintentionally. So that is an option to keep those. So, and now the shimmer for this is and for all of the colors is quite subtle. You probably will not be able to see it on camera. So I'm just going to do the center, and so you can just color entirely with the brush. I'm just going to extend this slightly, and so when you're up close you can see the shimmer. It will probably be quite difficult to see on camera because it is quite subtle, but also make sure that you have given it a good squeeze to get all the glimmer down into the brush. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Hi Dimity, how are you? Let's see if I can get that in focus maybe. So it's very, very subtle, but it is there, and it's a really good option when you do want a bit of shimmer but not over the top. Oops. So they are available in all of the new the 5 new in colors. And then the leaves I have stamped in Peaceful Pine, which is the one of the in colors. So this one is a nice easy layout. I've just got little scraps from other die cuts all over the place. So, and I'm just going to double check and make sure that my 2 pieces are the same height, because sometimes they can be off ever so slightly. That's looking good. Alrighty. Dimity, your paper is on its way, so hopefully it will arrive soon. I sent it express post, so you'll get it in hopefully a half decent time frame. So we're just going to adhere this. We just want a slight border, not too much, which is why this is quite a fine piece of the specialty paper. We just want a little bit showing, and then this is going to line up against the score line of the card base. Let's just check that it's relatively straight enough. All right, how are you, Dimity? Alrighty, so we'll get this one down. So this one goes the full height of the card, so you do want to be careful with your cutting measurements. and we'll just line that up. I think that looks pretty good, and I just forgot we need to stamp the sentiment. I was going to do that first, but all right, so sentiment we are just going to stamp down the bottom in Peaceful Pine. There we go. And then, so I've already put the dimensional backings on. Haven't taken the adhesive off yet because I just want to get the placement sorted, and I think I want that a bit higher. So that one's going to sit about there. We want to make sure that there is enough room for this one without overlapping the sentiment. So that one is going to sit about there. This one is going to sit in between. And that one's going to sit in there. I was talking about the ribbons dimity for the ribbon chair. They are on their way. This one is going to sit just in there. And we can probably stick this one down now. So we can get that once I remember exactly where it was going to sit. Where did I have it? About there, I think. I may have, let's just slide this one up a bit further. There's still a bit of time to move that one, which is handy. So that will sit down there, that'll be fine. Oops, that one goes there, and then this one we will sit in about there. Take the backings off this one. And I just add this, so this bit will sit, I don't want it dimensionals there because that's going to be sitting on an already raised area, so I just want to add a bit of adhesive rather than dimensional for that section. But that is that bit done, and then all that we need to do, we should add the insert. Let's do that, and then we can embellish. Alrighty. I am using for this one, actually for all 3 cards, I'm using the 2026 to 28 in color, the pearls and the butterflies. So using both of these for all 3 cards. So I'm going with one of the Peaceful Pine there and one of the smaller Barely Blush ones. I just want to move that. That ended up a bit higher than I planned. There we go. And then just a couple of these. Put that one back in. And card number 1 is done. Nice and quick and easy. Alrighty, on to the second card. This is also a fairly quick and easy card. So I'm using basic white for the base for this one, thick basic white. And then Hydrangea Hue plus the Designer Series paper. One of the scalloped circles and some of the die cut flowers. So this one we are going to color with blends. And actually we could try doing this one just with the shimmer brush. That could work. We will try that and see how it goes. We'll start with the center, see how it works with just the shimmer brush, and then we can decide if we want just the shimmer brush or if we want some extra blends. So the blends or the shimmer brushes are a really good option if you don't like 2-step stamping or you don't have the ink pads but you've got the blends or the shimmer brushes. So plenty of options available. It's always much harder to colour after you've die cut. It's much easier to stamp, colour and then die cut. But if I did that, we'd be here all night once you add in the time to die cut. So that is why I cut. Most of the time I will cut ahead of time unless there is a good reason not to. And I would just add a little bit more to a couple of these. All right, that should be enough. Hi Renee, how are you? All right, let's see, and I don't know if I've actually, oh no, I have. I couldn't remember if I'd actually used this one yet. So we'll see how this goes just with the shimmer brush. We'll start with the center, see how dark it is. Because yeah, these weren't available at the time I designed and made these cards, so it wasn't an option at that point, but we can try it out now and see how it goes. A little harder to add shading with this one, but that's all right. It's not meant for shading like the blends are. And the good thing with these being quite subtle, if you are using them to color for something like this, is that you can color the whole thing and you'll get that shimmer, but it's not going to overpower the card. So we'll see how this looks when I'm done. I wouldn't normally experiment with pretty much anything for the first time in a life, but hey, let's give it a go. Let's just see if we can make it just a little darker in a few spots. You can sort of get a bit of shading effect. What do we reckon? I think that'll work. It's a little harder to control the coloring with the brush, just because it's a long brush and it's a very flexible tip, but it's doable. Let's see. What do you reckon? I reckon that's, oops, try not to drop it, good enough. It's not going to be as smooth and nicely blended as the blend, so you are going to get a little bit of streakiness. It's kind of unavoidable, but it's not It's not too bad. You just have to be careful you don't end up doing what I'm doing and going over everything forever to try and get rid of that streakiness, but I think that works. Let's go with it. Alrighty, so that part is done, and now we need to stamp the sentiment. So I used Secrecy for the sentiment, and let me just check that. Just want to make sure I'm not going to get, and I need this piece anyway in just a sec. That's that one, and then we will get the Hydrangea Hue stamp pad, and I'm just using the little flower, but I'm going to stamp it off each time, and then just going with about 5. Some of those weren't, that first one wasn't great, it had a bit too much ink on it, but we can deal with that. Alrighty, so let's adhere these together. I need to make sure I remember to add the ribbon before I stick this to the card front. Okay, there's that one, and then so this is the Hydrangea Hue bordered ribbon. Just add a bit of tear and tape to that. And a bit more because I didn't pull off enough. Okay. So we'll just wrap this around just up from the bottom. That should be far enough. You could go a little bit higher than that, but that will work. And then we'll just stick this one down. Let's go Okay, and then this one is going to go in the center there, so I'm going to stick this one down flat. You can pop it up on dimensionals if you prefer, but I'm going to be popping the flower up on dimensional, so I'll leave the scallop circle flat for the moment, and I'll just add the dimensionals to this one. Just going to use a lot of my edge pieces because they actually work quite well to just sit around the edges here. And just because that one is left over, we'll stick that on there. So that will sit about there, so just be mindful of the sentiment and where that is sitting. So that single one is going to go up the top. And the triple leaf is going down the bottom, although you'll probably only see two parts to it by the time we adjust. And let's just twist that around ever so slightly. We might pull this one down a bit because we need to pull that one over, and let's slide across. This is one of the many reasons I like the liquid glue, because you do have a bit more time to move, and I'm actually going to switch this around before I stick anything down too much. That's better. Alright, I think that will work. There we go. We can press that down a bit better. And we just need to adjust slightly. There we go. Just want to make sure we're not covering the sentiment too much. And then we will bring our gems back in. And seeing as I haven't used these ones yet, let's see. We can cover we can at least partially cover that. Probably can't add too many around there, but we can add one, and then let's add a couple more. Go a larger one and a smaller one, and then we'll add, we still got to do the ribbon, gone. And put that one there. And let's, oh, we should add, forgot the no, we don't need an insert for this one because it is a basic white card base, so we don't need it. Just get the ribbon sorted. Okay, move that out of the way, and that one, and then we just need a glue dot. Add that to the center. Fold that over, and there we go. Second one is done. Alrighty, on to the final card, which is this one. So this one I've pre-stamped and coloured all the flowers, I think, because they're all die cut, and I have, because it's barely blush, I have double stamped all of them because it is very pale. So this is the cardstock. So the cardstock's not, you know, it's not too bad in terms of how pale it is, particularly depending on the sort of background color that you've got it on, but the ink is very, very pale. And then this is some of the pearlized specialty paper, so it's got a bit of shimmer to it. And then I have die cut, so I've got the flowers, so I've got a large, medium and a small one, and then the leaves are all the sort of standalone die cuts leaves, so they don't need to be stamped, they're just die cut. And I've used the Peaceful Pine two-tone, and so I've used the lighter side of the two-tone for these, and didn't use adhesive sheets, which I should have, but these ones are at least a little bit larger, so it's not too bad. And then this is one of these scalloped circles from the Scallop Blooms set and the Everyday Arches dies. And then for this one, I'm going to add a little bit of the Barely Blush shimmer pen to the center, just to add a bit of shimmer, and it also gives a bit of depth, because the you've then got a bit of light and dark. And I will add some to this one as well. Oops, there we go. All right, so let's stamp the sentiment, and I need to make sure I clean that stamp because I used Secrecy on it just before, and I do not want Secrecy in my strawberry slush. Aw, thank you, Dimity. Now, where's my strawberry slush? There it is. Just make sure I've got my strawberry slush. Slush needs a bit of re-inking, I think. So I just want to make sure I've got enough on there. Alrighty. Okay, let's, might as well just adhere this one now while it's here. Should take the, clean off the top of the glue. Okay, that's that one. So, Peaceful Pine card base for this one. Now, where is my, there it is, my Designer Series paper. So this this paper pack is a specialty paper. So one side of each design has gold in it, and then the other side doesn't. And this was the one for those who are there who know, that was referred to as grandma sheets. By a certain Stampin' Up! Staff member. So now I just call it grandma sheets, because that's what I think of every time I see it. Alrighty, let's stick this one down. Actually getting through this quite quickly tonight. Well, at least quickly compared to how slow I usually am. Alrighty, so that we need to make sure that's not too close to the bottom, because that needs to sit down in the bottom corner, and we want to make sure there is room for everything around it. So more space at the bottom than the top for this one. So this is not a centered piece, centered side to side, but not top and bottom. So about there, I think should be okay. So that one will sit about there. This one, so that's going to sit about there. That there's a bit of overlap with that one, so that's going to sit about there. This one will sit about there, probably up a little bit, because the little one is going to sit over the middle there. So let's get these bigger ones down first. one of the reasons I didn't end up using adhesive sheets with this was because I hadn't decided which side I was going to use, so I was flipping it over and cutting pieces from both sides, so I didn't make much sense to put adhesive sheets on at that point. And then once I decided there was not much point cutting more, just to use adhesive sheets. But it does make it a lot quicker and easier. That one can sit about there, and then we need, so that one will sit in about there. This one is going to go on the other side. Oops. Let's just move these back so this one will come and sit down about there, I think. Yep, that will be fine. Let's actually stick this one down now, seeing as we have all the other pieces down that need to go down for that one, so we can stick that one down, and then we don't have to worry about pieces sliding around and moving all over the place. So let's get all of these backings off. Okay, that's all of them. So let's double check. Yep, that's about right. And then that's going to sit about there, so we will stick one of those. Let's move this across a little, because that one is going to sit about there. Oops, trying to come with me. Nearly there. Okay, so that is sitting about there. That one is going to come in onto there. All right, we can stick this one down now. So I'm just going to go one larger one in the middle. Oops. Smaller ones around the edges. Just need to be careful with the sentiment one in terms of where the dimensionals are placed, just so that we don't accidentally oops, that one's moved ever so slightly. We want that sitting, yeah, about there, just trying to stop that one moving too much. So just because these are up on dimensionals and they're going to sit under and actually this probably needs to come a little bit further back. I think the leaves may have moved. That's okay. So we actually want this one about there. So I'm going to try and just, where's my, there it is. I'm just going to carefully adjust. Work out where I want this one to sit. I want it sitting about there, so I think I can actually take the whole thing up without too much damage. Let's actually get that sitting under there a bit better. That's better. That's a bit better. So, and we'll do this one last because these are already up on dimensionals. We don't want this part up on dimensionals, so we just want to be careful where we place them. So I'm going to go one in the center, and then we can go down the bottom, and I always mess this up and go completely the wrong side. Can probably go one more there. And that's probably it. And then we will add some liquid glue so that there is still something to stick. So we just want to get that close to the corner. We can adjust slightly. That's looking pretty good. And then this one's going to sit over the top here. So we're just going to go a small one in the center, which hopefully will be, hopefully that's going to be small enough. Oops. Where's it gone? Trying to escape. Alrighty, perfect. And this one does have an insert. Let's get that down. And I think I just need to clean out the glue boogers, which is why it's catching. That's better. Alrighty, let's go again with that bit, because you know I need everything to stick properly. Alrighty, there's that, and we can flip it back over, and then all that is left, bring these back in, and let's see, we will go with one of the butterflies. Probably could have put another dimensional under there, but that's fine. And then going with a mix, so we're going to go with some of the Peaceful Pine. Was that one of the larger ones or the smaller ones? That's a larger one. Up the top there, and then one of the little barely blush ones for the center. And we are done. That is the third and final card for this week. Alrighty, let me bring everything back in. And there we have it. These are the 3 cards for this week's class, and you have until the end of Saturday night to get your orders in, so $75 before shipping and after Stampin' Rewards, and I will send you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards. And for those who are on my email list, so my weekly newsletter gets out tomorrow. The link to the online global retreat sign up form will be in there again. And of course, if you have any questions about the retreat, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Always happy to answer any questions you may have. Alrighty. Oh, thank you, Dimity. Thank you, Renee. Next week's class is the All a Flutter bundle. And actually, speaking of my newsletter, for those who are on my email list, and if you see if you go through the event calendar in there, I will probably be just switching a couple of those later this month around a bit. I just need to readjust the dates for a few things. So those classes will still be happening. They just some of them will be moved, some might be earlier, some might be later, but I will update the listing as soon as I can and get that out to you. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me. If you are watching on YouTube, if you like the projects, if you want to see more of them and get the notifications, remember to subscribe to my channel, and it really helps me out. Alrighty, until next week.